Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you so much for joining me today on this CMA Members Showcase video. I'm amazingly privileged to be joined by none other than Dr. James Alexander. James, thank you so much for joining and welcome.
Good to be with you today.
Oh, it's such a pleasure. And as we were just chatting, and I was saying it's down to the marvels of modern technology that you're based in the USA, I'm here in the UK, and we have this privilege of being able to spend time together and talk, and for me to find out a little bit more about the work that you do, so that we can share that with all our viewers and listeners. So, James, can you tell our audience a little bit about you, your background, and the work that you do?
Well, sure. I live near Indianapolis, which is in the middle of the United States. I moved here about 5 years ago to a town nearby where my son and my grandchildren live. I grew up in Kansas City, which is a city in Missouri. If you don't know it, you may remember the Beatles once did a cut called Kansas City, Here I Come.
Yep.
And now it's a city of about 2 million, so it's gotten to be pretty good size. We have 2 sons. We have 4 grandkids. I've been married since 1977. I have a Maine Coon cat named Baxter. Maine Coons are mighty big cats. He weighs 20 pounds. He runs the place. He's into everything. Taught college for 25 years. I was a minister for about 10 years, Presbyterian minister, and earlier on than that, I was a primary school reading teacher. So
wonderful. Gosh. Yeah. So you've been in education and pastoral work for a long time. And yeah. I think that must really have informed massively the work that you currently do. Is that right?
Yes. And now I work as a coach. And, if you'd ask me, how did I get interested in coaching? Really, I'd have to say, I don't even know. I mean, I was a researcher. I research a lot and read a lot, from my former academic background. And I was reading about transpersonal psychology that I knew very little about. And I came across some information about an institute that trained people to be transpersonal coaching psychologists. And I knew little about it. And I already had a degree in psychology, and I taught psychology of religion, and I taught educational psychology and human development, that kind of thing before. And so I was interested in this, and it just kind of kept calling to me. And I didn't know why, but I thought I would enroll and just see if the call got any stronger to me or it became any clearer to me, because I can't quite explain it. It just kind of beckoned to me. And of course, in my life, I have a spiritual dimension that I felt also spirit drew me that way. So I went that way. And when I got done, it became clear to me that that was a good decision. And that coaching was a good place for me to be.
Tremendous, absolutely tremendous. So how is it that you work with people now? And can you sort of flesh out a little bit the sort of coaching that you do and how you help support people?
Sure. I was trained at this Institute for Soul-Centered Coaching Psychology. It was a rigorous program. It was based in Jungian and transpersonal psychology very heavily. And I don't know on your side of the pond how that is, but I know one thing on your side of the pond that is pretty gained a lot of prominence, and that is psychosynthesis. And I've also had extensive training since that time, about a year's worth in psychosynthesis from a institute called Psychosynthesis Circle. And in my work, I draw from both the transpersonal aspect and the psychosynthesis aspect, and my own studies of religion, and using my background to reach out to people just with problems in general, problems of living, with questions about life, life direction. But when it comes to coaching, I do have one particular area of special interest. And that area to me is bad religion. And yeah, very much so. Um, I've done a lot of coaching with those that are confused about religion,
Mhm.
and with those that were abused by religion,
Mm.
both physically, sexually, and also emotionally and psychologically, big time.
Mm.
And those wanting to change religion, but not having the slightest idea how. And those abused by religion enough they want to get out, and
Mm.
I help them get out. And also for folks, I find this particularly interesting, that kind of want to build their own religious outlook,
Mm.
which I can help them do that, help them find their way. And those interests develop for me in a funny way because, I go back to the late 60s and early 70s in Kansas City when the hippie scene was coming in, and I was in high school and I got involved in that. And like a lot of young people, I was searching, for something in my life. And, well, I thought I found it, and I got connected with the Jesus freaks, and moved into a commune. And it took me a year or two there to realize that it was a mind control deal.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, and there was a lot of that going on,
Mm.
and I got out of that. And I hate to say there were thousands of folks there who did not get out of it.
That's me.
But it was very sad. But later, I came to see how that moniker of mind control applies to organized religion a lot too. That they hold the fear of hell and damnation over your head, if you don't toe the line and go the way you want. And a lot of people, when it comes to religion, are filled with fear. And it can be healthy. Religion can be very healthy. It can be very freeing. But it also many times is controlled by narcissistic leaders.
Mm.
And once again, I can't distinguish your situation in the UK and here, but here, a lot of times these narcissistic leaders are white men,
Mm.
and really put the women on the shelf.
Yeah.
And so I find a lot when I work with women that they've been really tied down and humiliated and
Mm.
everything under creation. So
Mm.
I guess you would call that my interest is in bad religion. So
Right. Goodness, that is huge topic, isn't it? And so incredibly needed, because I think that there are so many people who are going through these issues. And I think at the moment, because the world is such a strange place in this hopefully post-COVID world that we find ourselves in, it is such a strange place, from the financial side of things, from the war side of things, the political landscape. Everything is very, very challenging at the moment. And I think that a lot of people would be potentially searching for something. So what you're saying is, I think, so incredibly valuable for so many people.
yeah, I think it's right. We just had our it wasn't presidential, but our congressional elections.
Yes.
And they didn't turn out the way I liked. But I was watching a little news about this morning, and it was interesting because they were interviewing someone. He was saying, how they knew, God gave us our former president, to set us free from, sin and evil, and get us back on the right path. And religion here has gotten so mixed up with politics, and people are confused, and it's messed with people's minds. And some people just kind of want to say, how do I sort this out?
Yes. Very, very difficult, isn't it? And so I think really, when people are watching this, I think what you're saying is going to touch so many people. There will be people saying, goodness me, you're telling my story. And so how do people reach out to you, James? Do they, I mean, can people come to see you in person? Obviously easier if they're based in the US, or do you help people online? What is the best way for somebody
Well,
to reach out to you if they feel that you might be able to help them?
yeah, I'm still pretty cautious about meeting face to face with people.
Mm-hmm.
So I meet by Zoom or by FaceTime. I have met some by phone, but if you know, if I believe the video will provide some contact information, you can click on there. But the I'm easy to find by just Googling James Alexander Soul Centered Transpersonal Coach.
Yes,
Several things pop up for that,
great.
and one of them is my webpage. You can get in there and read where I'm coming from and what I do. And I will say this, one thing that is a little different about my practice is it's free. Uh, in a way. It's free in that it costs you nothing,
Mm.
but it is I'm a Episcopalian Franciscan, so I try to take a life of poverty seriously. And so, you know, I take the money people want to donate, and it can be zero, it can be $5, it can be nothing. And that goes to a feeding ministry to feed hungry folks. So you know, I don't let money deter you. If you need help, whatever you got, or if you got nothing, I don't care. I'm happy to help in any way that I can.
That is absolutely remarkable and a really beautiful service to humanity, James. I think it's astonishing and wonderful. It's very interesting, actually. There was an old US chiropractor who had a very similar way of working. He had a little donation box outside, and people would donate whatever they could, and or not. And he was a very, very busy chiropractor, and somehow it just all worked out. And again, he was donating, any monies that came in, he was donating on. And it's a fantastic business model. But presumably, you have other income streams, because I wouldn't want people thinking, oh my goodness, I can't see.
Well, I have other income streams than that. I'm retired.
Right. Okay. Fine. Okay. So yes, because I think sometimes when we work by donation, I think sometimes people think, gosh, I can't really donate anything, so I can't really go. But I hear what you're saying, that it shouldn't stop anybody. But sometimes people are a little wary. Certainly, they're over this side of the pond. They are a bit like that, and so it's really lovely to know that you have this extraordinary generosity of spirit that will allow you to and enables you to work in this way, and will enable people to actually benefit hugely from your wisdom and your care.
I appreciate that. I certainly hope so.
Yes.
Yeah. Here, once you're retired, you can earn whatever you want and keep it all with no taxes. And it just seemed to me like a good way for me to embrace my Franciscan poverty was to give it away. So,
Yes.
What I try to do.
That's absolutely, well, it's just beautiful. It really, really is. I think anybody watching this is going to be incredibly touched by that. And for the viewers, I do want to say, if you're watching this on YouTube, underneath the video, there's a little sort of series of words. It'll say more ... Click on that, and then you'll find that all the show notes open up, and you'll be able to see exactly how to contact James, and take you to his websites and various other places. So at least you'll be able to read up a little bit more about the work that James does. If you're listening to this as part of a podcast, then we will make sure in the show notes that you'll be able to get the details there as well. So James, in closing, I could keep you all day, and I hope that we'll get another chance to do some more videos with you, perhaps more videos about ways that you can actually work with people and maybe share some of that wisdom. I think would be marvelous at some point in the future. But we'll close for now, because we obviously don't want to keep you all day, as much as I could, and obviously don't want to keep our viewers too long. But is there anything else that you would like to say in closing at all?
Not that I can think of exactly, except that my wife and we've been married for 46 years, and we have these 2 kids. This is just a little thought you may find humorous at the end. My daughter-in-law, oldest daughter-in-law, just gave birth to my last grandson. She was 40 years old, and they sent her to a department called geriatric obstetrics, which gave her quite a kick. So,
oh my goodness! But anyway, many congratulations on the new grandbaby. And yes, it's a bit of a shock, isn't it, for us ladies when we're sort of considered to be geriatric at such a young age? Never good. But anyway, as long as, you know, essentially the end justifies the means in this particular situation, doesn't it? So that's wonderful. But look, thank you so much, James. It's been a real pleasure and a privilege, and I'm glad, you know, with a few sort of false starts, we've finally managed to get to speak. And please, if we can get you back, I would love to do that. It's been amazing to actually meet you properly, albeit over Zoom.
thank you very much.
It's a pleasure. Take care. Thank you.